Warning. This is a series where an amateur racer makes his way to professional. There will be crashes, there will be disasters, there will be many spinellas. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. This is another video where I am doing a post-edit commentary because the audio in the recording of the video itself didn't record my voice and only recorded in-game footage. So please bear with me one more time and probably another one more time, and then I'll be back to usual to commentating in-game as well as using the in-game audio. So the love for this series is phenomenal right now, a lot more than I expected, so please keep that up. Please leave a like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you're notified when the next episode of F1 2020 My Team comes through on my channel. So last time out, of course, we had a stunning race in the Chinese Grand Prix. This time around, we are heading on into the Dutch Grand Prix, where we already had some training on the track with the Red Bull Invitational event from last time out. Here we are trying to manage some activities for the timeline, and we progress time, or prepare to progress time for the race weekend. Of course, last time out we also changed out our engine components, some of which are very jaded and nearly broken, so we are bringing in fresh components for the Dutch Grand Prix, and hopefully our durability upgrades will come in time to mitigate further disasters. I decide to take a penalty here for a gearbox change. It is against regulations to be changing gearboxes before 6 races, but I decide to take a penalty for this round and change the gearbox because it is at 59% wear, and that does not look good. Some of the upgrades are coming through now, and we have a press interview, which I just skimmed through. I don't think it's important to show in this video. We have pistons upgrades, durability upgrades. This is getting great, just in time for the Dutch Grand Prix. So, looking at the development tree here, after China, it was us still on top, and now in the Dutch Grand Prix, coming into the Dutch Grand Prix, it looks like we will still be up top above the bottom 4 teams, 3 or 4 teams. We are still a mid-grid team. So deciding what difficulty I should go for, I decide on level 55 for the Dutch Grand Prix. If I do well here, I might bump it up 1 notch, but I highly doubt it. I think I'll keep it 55 for at least 2 or 3 more Grand Prix. Who knows? That we will decide later. Here is the setup for the car, as you see on screen. This was taken off the internet as always, and the car really did feel good compared to using just default setups that the game gives you. So I really enjoyed using the setup for the Dutch Grand Prix. As you can see here, we did not set a decent enough time. We are 21st, but anything is repairable in the practice sessions as rain starts to fall in practice too, and things were getting interesting as the track became slippery and I struggled to manage grip on the track. Nearly destroyed the car there, but we get P4 from practice 2. Track acclimatization was the hardest. We had rain for the first part of the practice session, and then the track cleared up and dried up at the same time. So we go out on softs, hit the wall there, DRS enabled, and we hit a purple score to complete the practice sessions all around. So we got purples all around in all of our practice programs, so I just decided to let time run out and end P3. So practice 3 is over. We finish on 13th position, but of course we have a +5 grid penalty for our new gearbox, so we have to expect that. Our resource point generation is looking good, 580 and 160 for us in the weekend. Level 4 Acclaim and Team Acclaim is level 6. And now we head on to qualifying. So qualifying was dry and sunny, so it was a great time for me to, set in some fast lap times using our soft compound tire for our first run. Hit the wall in the first turn, but otherwise I gave it a clean shot. Beautiful run here in the sun. Really, that Red Bull Invitational event was fantastic because I already kind of knew what this track was like. But of course, I had some bumps and issues along the way, as you saw me just there hitting the grass for a good part of that turn. Otherwise, I was getting my braking points pretty spot on. I just need to fine tune a couple turns here where I just let go of the accelerator and let the car drift on. DRS is also helpful in this kind of long straight, and then we have this zigzag turn here into another straight, or semi-straight I should say. There's no DRS here, but it is just before the DRS point at the start-finish straight. So first lap of Q1, hitting the wall there again, and we cross the line 117.6. We give it another go here, and at the end of Q1 we notice that we get a 116.4, and that brings us just about in Q2, P16 in qualifying 1, just about scraping our way into Q2. Mick Schumacher drops out in P19, so he'll start on P19. So we give another go in Q2. This is our first run among our second round of qualifying competitors, and we are showing a good delta here. Actually, this was our second run, yes. Good second run with 115, but we noticed that that is not good enough to progress to Q3. We drop out at P13. Knocked out of Q3, but it is a good sign that we are still competitive. We are middle of the road, like mid-table team, so we prepare for the race. The rivalry is decent, +2 from that, some acclaim acquired from our qualifying session, and now we head on to race day.
It was 35 years ago that the late great Niki Lauda took his 25th and final Grand Prix win here at Zandvoort. He came from 10th on the grid to beat his McLaren teammate Alain Prost by just 0.2 of a second. Well, Zandvoort is a very different circuit today, of course, but still one with an incredible legacy. And we're going to add to that. Welcome along to the 2020 Dutch Grand Prix. 2.6 miles then make up a lap here at a wet Zandvoort circuit, where some tricky braking zones and sudden drops can make it all too easy to slide off into the gravel. There are 14 corners overall and a 678-metre main straight, providing the best chance for overtaking. It's not going to be plain sailing for our drivers today, although with the sky falling as it is, perhaps sailing isn't too far from the truth. And Anthony Davidson, could be a wet one today. Great to have you with us. What are your thoughts?
It is a touch damp, isn't it? Well, as a driver, there are 3 big things to worry about when racing in these kind of conditions: standing water, tyre temperature and visibility. Judging distance to the cars around you is really tricky when you're driving through the vast amounts of spray that these wet weather Pirelli tyres kick up.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. An immense lap from Lewis Hamilton yesterday puts him on pole position, and it's Valtteri Bottas that completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Vettel, Alexander Albon, and Perez, Norris, Ocon, Gasly, and Carlos Sainz. Verstappen, Magnussen, Antonio Giovinazzi, and Russell, Kvyat, Ricciardo, the rookie, and Lance Stroll, Schumacher, Grosjean, Raikkonen, and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So Jeff thinks that we can keep going with the points, and I think so too. After seeing some other drivers taking grid penalties, it is a rainy race, so we decide on a one tire strategy, one stint, no pit stops. We just go on with our one intermediate tire set, and here we go in the Dutch Grand Prix. Going on the outside line here, trying to make sure I brake in time so I don't destroy my front wing. Hitting the gravel trap a tiny bit, but we are okay and we keep proceeding. But we come around in this corner and... oh, it's tight. Bummer. Just what I was expecting. Something to go really wrong all of a sudden, and then our front wing is destroyed. We also get nudged off course by Lance Stroll, and we take a flashback. We hit Lance Stroll back with a tiny nudge, and we keep fighting, and then all of a sudden, you notice that Lance Stroll is knocked out of... I don't know what happened, but he's just knocked all around, and he all of a sudden stops in the middle of the road and triggers a yellow flag in that part of the track. But I get the penalty for it despite giving him enough racing line. I think I gave him racing space, but I mean, I just don't know.
Okay, Jeff.
So Jeff is saying that it is okay what we did, like maintaining position, but we just need to keep pushing. I think maintaining our position was really good, but Jeff thinks that we should be doing better. Anyway, moving on. We had a small flashback there because of an error in the joystick movement. It was my personal error, so we take it. Number 2 is used. Now we are right behind George Russell, and Daniel Ricciardo is just ahead of him. We are within 1 second of Russell. Schumacher and Grosjean are really behind us, tight up behind us. 3 seconds or so behind means they could easily catch up if I'm not careful. We try to attack George Russell here, trying to stay as close as possible to him so that we can overtake him later on. Trying to manage my fuel, also manage my ERS so I can complete a move. But opportunity strikes as we make this turn very well and fight George for P16. Jeff is satisfied with that as well, and we nearly binned the car there, but we managed to stay on track out of the grass area. George Russell gives us a tiny nudge in the back, and things are getting feisty between myself and George, making this turn nicely despite avoiding the racing line a little. Gave George Russell a little space to overtake us, but we managed to fight back for the position. But look at our rear view mirror here. George Russell gets pinged off into space. I get the warning here for it. I don't know why. Again, it's the same situation as the Stroll one earlier in the race. I gave him a bit of racing space, but he just collides into me wheel to wheel and gets pinged off into space and gets, you know, tossed into the siding. Anyway, we continue, and we are right behind Ricciardo at about approximately 3 seconds behind Ricciardo, and Schumacher is right on our tail, approximately 1 second behind us. We fast forward this part of the race because nothing really happens. I just have a really good race, taking it calmly. Really gotten used to this track over practice sessions and the event and everything, so this track is feeling really good. Coming up to the final moments of lap 3, as we hit lap 4, nothing much happens. We just got green sectors, so we're making good pace. So we are trying to catch up with the front pack. But as we end lap 4, Ricciardo is approximately 2.5 seconds ahead of us, so we are making some good time here. And we finally do make some, we make up a lot of space here. We are just behind Ricciardo, approximately a second now, and we're trying to fight the front 3 cars in front of us. Kvyat is just beyond Ricciardo, but that small turn there, that small error just really destroyed our delta. We're back to 2 seconds behind Ricciardo, and our hopes are pretty low. But we keep fighting. We know that our turns can be very good compared to the AI, so we're hoping that our turns play dividends. So the front left tire seems to be overheating a lot of times, so I'm trying to manage my tires a little better. The overheating of the front left tire is going to be something that I'm going to keep track of as I lose the rear end for a moment there. And now the delta is back to 3.5, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Mick Schumacher is right next to us, fighting us for the position, and then we bend the car. So this is another flashback moment for us, and Mick Schumacher caused that one, and I'm kind of angry at him. But here we go. After the flashback, we are progressing further into the race. Lap 6 now, and we are still doing all right. Mick Schumacher is behind us, and Grosjean is just behind him as well. Ricardo is leading ahead of us about approximately 3 seconds, maybe 3.5 now. So, I don't know. Our tires are wearing out a lot quicker than usual. And all of a sudden Schumacher is behind us as well, as I was checking the tire temperatures and tire conditions. But we defend against him pretty well for now as we go into lap 7. So the problem with this is that Schumacher is right on my back and Grosjean is just behind him. So one mistake could see both Schumacher and Grosjean going beyond us. And I'm trying to do my best to keep my rich fuel mixture overtake on for that small straight, taking this turn nicely and also managing my fuel so that I can extend the distance between myself and Schumacher, but also close the gap between myself and Ricardo. So making these turns nicely here, letting go of the accelerator as expected, but the turn is not really in line with the racing line. We keep going here to the start-finish straight soon, the zigzag moment here, and we see Ricardo is just up ahead, so I'm trying to keep myself motivated and concentrated to, really get close to them. Making this final turn here before the start-finish straight, and I'm not getting any closer, but there is a gap forming between myself and Schumacher, which is a good sight to see. I also noticed that the sky is getting lighter and there's a bit of blue sky being seen through the clouds, so I'm wondering if there will be a dry session in the race. But entering lap 9, Jeff didn't say anything. There was no mention of any dry weather, so I decided to keep going with the intermediate tires. Our fuel is looking great. We are now negative 0.13 laps, and a little bit more management will see us on par with our expectation. So another yellow flag is triggered for a moment there, and I think this was a retirement. Yep, Kimi Räikkönen retires. Now, I'm wondering if that's a safety car moment or maybe a VSC, but no, we just keep racing. So, bummer. If there was a VSC or a safety car, I would have boxed for a new set of tires, but we keep pushing and trying to manage the tires. Lap 11 now, still managing the tires well, but look at our deltas. I've been slacking and I'm now far away from Ricardo, and Schumacher is right behind me. Jeff is telling me to manage my tires, and if you take a look at my tires, it's just it's disaster. But we fast forward this lap, lap 13, nothing much happens here. A nice drive, seeing us make up some space between ourselves and Mick Schumacher, but Schumacher comes right back at us as we enter this moment in the race where Schumacher is just adding pressure on us, trying to push beyond us. And I take the corner well, maybe a tiny corner cut there, but that is okay. So far so good, managing and defending against Schumacher and Grosjean. That small bit in the gravel makes us lose a lot of time, and now I'm worried that Schumacher will... Okay, so car is completely gone as we collide with Grosjean. So another flashback moment there. I think this was flashback number 3 or maybe 4, I forgot. but we make the turn nicely this time, and we are going into lap 14. Lap 14 is the magic lap where Jeff says let's come in for new tires. Mainly, I finally understand why he was yelling at me to get new tires. Schumacher's ahead, and if you look at our tire conditions... What? Yeah, so our front left tire is now 100% worn out. So it's gone. It doesn't even exist. It might get a puncture soon. If you look at the graphics in the game, it is looking ropey. So I decided to rewind after that moment of shocker. And here we are, coming in for a new set of tires. Our minions are changing at 1.9 seconds. That is Red Bull level of quickness. Great job from the pit crew there to find ourselves just behind Lance Stroll in P20 when we rejoined the race after the pit stop. So we have a fight to, really battle out with Lance Stroll and Nicholas Latifi just ahead of us. And I am within attacking range, so I am trying to get some heat into the tires now, trying to prepare for an attack. Things are getting kind of slippery, and at this corner I make a nice turn and overtake Lance Stroll. A little bit of contact, but we'll take it. Nicholas Latifi now up next to be taken over. A little bit of slipstream here. This is the perfect spot for us because we have a faster car than the Williams, and we pretty much battle out a drag race here against Nicholas Latifi and overtake him by braking later than he does. And we are now in P18. Grosjean ahead, 12 seconds ahead, so it looks very difficult to overtake him. So I think we will settle for a P18 finish. Managing my laps carefully here because it's lap 16 and I don't want to push too hard right now because lap 17 will come and lap 18. The final two laps are going to be crucial for our survival in P18. So Jeff recommends a new strategy option in lap 18, which I just don't understand and ignore and keep pushing. So now we have a significant distance built between ourselves and Latifi, 5.5-ish seconds between us, and I feel pretty comfortable here in P18, driving the best I can. The road is pretty slippery here. I don't know why. I put enough heat into the tires, and I was hoping that at least 2 laps in the tires would see us have greater grip. But no, things were still slippery out there. The sun is kind of breaking through the clouds, but the car still slipped and slid all over the place. But coming up to the final couple turns in the lap, we look back to see no one behind us. Now Latifi has dropped to 6.5 seconds behind us. Lance Stroll is almost 7 seconds behind us. Jeff is telling us there's a new strategy option as we hit the checkered flag and we come in at P18.
Alright, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
What a great race then, and what a magnificent victory here at the Dutch Grand Prix. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Well done to Lewis Hamilton, who takes first place in this Dutch Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc seems to have gotten P2 and Valtteri Bottas in P3. So a Ferrari splitting the Mercedes team cars. So That was an interesting sight to see. Well, here are the results from the Dutch Grand Prix. We know our top 3 finishers. Vettel in 4th, Albon in 5th, Perez in 6th, Max Verstappen, who wins Driver of the Day as well, in P7, Pierre Gasly in P8, Lando Norris P9, Carlos Sainz in P10. So that's our top 10 finishers. And now looking at our position in the bottom half of the grid, we make it in P18 ahead of Latifi, Stroll, and Russell. Raikkonen, of course, retired halfway through the race. Mick Schumacher in P16, which was a decent showing from him as well. So, rivalry breakdown, we just about scrape some more points than Grosjean here. 17 points to his 8, so we are definitely in a lead. Our acclaim is looking good, level 6 throughout the team, and that is good to see. Our money flow is 128k from our sponsor for this race. We didn't get a top 12 finish, so that sucks for our Pay Night sponsorship. 48.5k from damages and payments, and we see our cash rise to approximately $3 million. Now, our R&D tree shows that a lot of upgrades did make it to our car for the Dutch Grand Prix. Now we are setting up some more upgrades for the next Grand Prix. And of course, because of that 100% tire wear issue, I am going to trigger the tire wear upgrade. Minor, but very important upgrade in the chassis department. So we'll see that arrive in the near future, and then we also trigger a powertrain development here in the crankshaft upgrade. It's a minor one, but of course very important to the development of our car. We also upgrade the facilities, $2 million invested into the aerodynamics, resource point generation, and that is what we wrote. Pretty much it is now the end of the video. Next up we will be at the Spanish Grand Prix in the Catalunya circuit. That is going to be an exciting one, so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like, subscribe using the red button down below, and ring the bell next to it so that you are notified when I upload next and when this series will continue. My socials are on the screen, so please follow me there so you're notified when I upload next. And I hope you guys are doing splendidly well, and I will see you in the next Grand Prix.